right over left. Let the palms touch the navel. Inhale long and deep, standing up straight, relaxing. Feel the warmth of the hands go into the navel. The navel will pull all of that energy you've created, and it will know exactly how to send it. Hello YouTube, this is Mahadeva, the Thunder Wizard. All right, so I want to share with you more in depth what I believe is possibly the most beneficial side effect, if you will, of all of the stuff that I teach, the lightning qigong, the spirit fighting. And it has to do with opening up the heart center and having the heart center not just open to you, but having your heart center become a conduit through which you can not only communicate with the spiritual realm, but also be infused with power that normally does not get to human beings. And, you know, I'm downplaying it here because I don't really want to, sound like I'm making outrageous or unreasonable claims, but it's just been my experience. More and more, the more that I do this work here, this practice, obviously I feel better physically. I feel a lot of healing on an emotional and psychological level. I feel a lot of spiritual power and connection and all of the other stuff that goes along with, the sorcery, shaman stuff. All of that stuff is there. But there's another benefit that is really coming more in focus for me the more I do this practice, which is that if you choose to, just doing this set here, which is free on the channel, if you choose to, you can use this energy as a direct conduit from your heart center and your energy body directly to this realm known as the realm of great clarity or the realm of great purity. It was known as the highest heavens. And this is the heavenly realm where the ascended masters, the bodhisattvas, those beings that are right beneath entering into whatever it is, the void. So according to the Buddhist understanding, there are these beings called bodhisattvas, which are humans who have achieved their freedom from reincarnation, that they are on the verge, they're just about ready to merge into the infinite, whatever that means, we don't know down here. And so as they stand at the gate of infinity, they turn and they look back at the human realm. Now, everybody has access to this, and if you just want to have access to this realm, face the northwest. Simply face the northwest and breathe and ask for guidance. And just at the most mundane level, what you will experience is you'll get some kind of information, whether that's simply a feeling, or whether that's words, or whether that's a vision, or whatever it is. You'll get some kind of interaction and some kind of message. And the message will always be in the same general theme, which is you will be given information that will help you understand how your thoughts, your beliefs, your behaviors, your actions, how all of that affects you and affects your health and your happiness and your evolution. And simultaneously, you will see how your actions ripple out into infinity and how it affects other people. And so you will get some kind of a message which leads you to the understanding that we are all connected, that there is a quantum field that connects all of us. And the actions that you take that are self-destructive will have a potentially destructive effect on other people and their consciousness. Now, you aren't powerful enough to prevent them from overcoming that, but you will have some responsibility, because some people, if they're not committed or they're not strong or whatever, can allow that negative, even if it's a slight influence, to affect their decisions and their behavior. Whereas you will also learn that if you do the hard work to heal and empower yourself, that will vibrate into the quantum field, and every consciousness in the entire universe, whether they be gods or humans or animals or trees or just this amoeba, it won't matter. You doing the work to raise your consciousness so that you are living a healthy, constructive, empowering life for yourself, that also benefits everything. This is the message that will come from this realm. And so the easiest way, to experience that is just simply face the northwest, and whatever you want to do, light a candle, light some incense. Even if you just stand there, what I do sometimes is I'll face the northwest and I'll stand. You can't see me now, but I've got my arms to my sides and my palms are open, facing in front of me. And that, for me, opens up this center called the Lao Gong point. And as soon as I do that, I feel myself connected to that realm. And just by doing that and breathing, you can get inspiration. You will get some kind of information that will help you if you breathe long enough and you relax. Prove me wrong. I've also given you this practice right here for free, which I have to say is one of the most profound and powerful practices that can be done. Even if you just did this practice every day for the rest of your life, you would get everything you needed. That is also true with the Huul breath, Huul breath. If you type that into YouTube, you'll come up. You can practice that. I give that away to the world for free as well. But these practices, if you just do them, just commit to doing them. Like if somebody says, I don't have any money, or I don't want to spend any money, or whatever the heck it is, just do the Huul breath for, here, I'll type it here for you. You can go look it up on YouTube. And I'm not the only, there are other people out there that have learned from me that also teach it. It's a free gift. I don't require any kind of anything from anybody to practice that gift. And if you do that, let's say you say, I don't have any money, I don't want to pay you anything, I can't be your apprentice, I don't want to buy any of your services. Great. Do the Huul breath for an hour every day for a year. If you have the ability to do that 1 hour every day for a year, and if you want help, you can go onto YouTube and you'll see that I have videos where I have chanted it in a loop for, I think, 30 minutes. You can do that back to back. You can do it along with me. If you do that every day for an hour for a year, I challenge you to come back a year later and tell me that nothing happened. I challenge you to do that. I dare you. You want to prove me wrong? You think, like some people do, that I'm just in this for the money and I'm, whatever negative things you may be thinking about me. Do that for a year for free. and then tell me. Tell me that nothing happened. Nobody has taken me up on that challenge yet. I haven't gotten one email telling me I did the Hool breath for an hour a day for a year and nothing happened. That hasn't happened yet. So the point of all that is that this energy is available. This communication from the ancestral realm, the realm of great purity, is available to everybody. The most mundane, the most easy way is, as I said, just by facing northwest and, breathing and meditating and letting whatever information come. You can also come with requests about your life. You can also come with questions. And, I can't guarantee how they will respond to that. But again, what this realm is only interested in, this realm is only interested in helping you to live a more constructive, spiritual life that will simultaneously go out through the quantum field and help every other consciousness evolve. That's all that they're interested in. So, you could go and ask them questions and you might not get an answer, or you'll get sort of this strange sort of quizzical question mark coming from them, meaning, what does that have to do with your evolution? Let's focus on your evolution. So that's the basic thing. Everybody can do that, right? Have I beat that horse to death? It's a gift for all of you. I strongly encourage people, if you want to live a healthier life, to learn how to do that. But let's talk about how the heart center is actually a conduit through which you can not only have that experience of having this communication from the Ascended Masters, but you can also have a special relationship which is not found in a lot of, if not most, energetic traditions, where you can imagine, you hook your heart up, as a cord, hook it up to the most powerful spiritual dimension. That's what these practices are doing. If you notice, if you watch over here, you'll see a lot of this kind of movement here. Look, I'm doing it right there. I've got my hands like that. This has to do with opening up a special center within the heart. That center vibrates at a very high level. That center is normally dormant. It works, but it works only defensively. And so what happens is, in three-dimensional life, in your human life, this is a very harsh existence. So I give people a hard time, for having victim mentality and all of that. It's not because I don't understand or I don't care. I would not wish the first half of my life on anybody. I'm not trying to compete with anybody, but the hell that I went through, the first half of my life and beyond, I would not want anybody to have to live through. So I'm well aware that, I give people a hard time who are conspiracy theorists and all of that. It's not that I don't understand what drives people to have this victim mentality. It's not that I don't understand why people desperately want to escape the matrix and they want to escape reincarnation. I absolutely understand that feeling and have shared those feelings. It's because I have learned, because of overcoming and working, taking the warrior path to overcome my challenges as opposed to let them define me. It has helped me to understand how important it is for us infinite godlike beings to go through the challenges of three-dimensional life. So as you know, what I teach is that there are no victims. There is no such thing as karma in the way it's been taught. Karma just simply means the effects, the consequences of actions, both positive and negative. That's it. You go to the gym and lift weights, you get bigger muscles. You sit at home and eat Cheetos and watch Netflix, you get, weak and flabby. Those are the two things that happen. So that's all that karma is. And what we have decided to do as what we are, at our deepest, most authentic essence, is us infinite gods. We have decided to come into this very challenging and sometimes very harsh three-dimensional reality so that we can grow in power. And we have within us our infinite soul, which is infinite. It's timeless, it's infinite, it's all-powerful, it's all-knowing. The state of the soul is bliss. So if you're not experiencing bliss, that's understandable. That's because you have this three-dimensional avatar. It has a brain in it, and it has a psyche in it, and it has a nervous system, and it has a bunch of emotions, and it has this interface. You have eyes and nose. You have all these interfaces that keep you connected to this three-dimensional reality. It's just like wearing a virtual reality suit. That's exactly what this is. This body is a virtual reality suit. It has a computer in it, and it has a bunch of electrodes in it, which is your nervous system. It has these 7 chakras, which regulate your psyche. So the chakras have nothing to do with your soul. The chakras are about your psyche. When you die, your chakras don't come with you. Chakras are only for this physical body and the psyche. So as an avatar, you have to take on an avatar, a personality. If you're playing a role-playing game, you have to decide what your avatar is. Are you going to be the warrior? Are you going to be the priest? Are you going to be the dwarf? Are you going to be the shaman? Are you going to be the wizard? You have to pick one. So this is what your story is. My name is so-and-so. I grew up here. I'm smart at this. I'm learning that. These, all of that karmic stuff, your astrological chart, I'm a Vedic astrologer, all of that has to do with your avatar. It doesn't define your soul. So this incredibly, infinitely powerful being, which is you, has to be encased in a protective case. Like when you see, I was watching Star Trek or something, the Next Generation, and Data was walking around with a suitcase that said radioactive on it, right? So it's obvious that he was carrying a case that protected what was inside of it from leaking out, so that you could walk around and hold it and not get, poisoned by the radioactive rock inside of the case. So your soul has that effect on three-dimensional reality. If your soul was at its full peak, three-dimensional reality would come apart. Simultaneously, the harshness of three-dimensional reality, which is human beings are cruel, oftentimes. They can be cruel, they can be selfish, they harm you out of their ignorance, out of their just scratching through trying to survive this three-dimensional world. They cause harm. You're betrayed, you're hurt, sometimes intentionally, sometimes unintentionally. Sometimes you just want something, you want to be loved, and somebody refuses your love, and that is extremely damaging. And so the soul needs to be protected from that. So it's surrounded by this protective power source, which you cannot access through Kundalini. You can't access it through mantra. You can't access it through yoga. You can't access it through rituals. You have life force energy, which is, this works also with life force energy. Chi, prana, your breath. Every time that you breathe, you're connecting to this energy all around you that creates and maintains life. But even that energy will not give you access to this power of the heart. It's not meant, it wasn't designed to be released through the body. It wasn't designed to be released out into three-dimensional reality. So those sorcerers, those shamans, those wizards, who figured this thing out, who figured out what goes on in this, what they called the heart mind. They figured out a way to break the rules. Of course, they didn't. This is something that we put into the three-dimensional game, that at some point along the evolution of humans, there would be people who would learn how to tap into it. It's just like when you play a game, you find the secret passageway and you get the special key that unlocks the superpower. That's exactly what this is. And so these people practiced on a mountain called Mao Shan, which means Mao Mountain. And these were the first Taoist wizards. And this summoning the immortals works directly with them. If you don't believe what I'm telling you, again, this is free. If you go on my channel, look for that. It's free. I dare you to practice it. Practice it for a year, every day for a year, and tell me nothing happened. I dare you. I challenge you. So if you're one of those people that comes onto my channel and all you want to do is listen to me talk, you're really doing yourself a disservice. The reason why I uploaded this practice was because I was talking about this power called the heart mind, which is the power of lightning that surrounds and protects your soul, and also protects your soul from the damage that people can do to you. And I was talking about the powers of this, and a small percentage of people would actually try this or try the 90-day challenge, and they know what I'm talking about. But those that didn't, they didn't have the money, they didn't, how you don't have $55 a month, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, are you homeless? I don't know. None of my business, not my problem. But I realized that I had to make it available to people so that they could feel it. And that's exactly what this set here is I gave that to you. That's something normally I would have kept for advanced practitioners, and I would have charged you a lot of money to learn that. But I decided to give it away because we're in a state now where, you've been hearing for a long time, my whole life, I've been hearing from different spiritual practices and religions that a time is coming when the world is going to be tested and there's going to be a shift. And there's going to be this huge shift in consciousness. And before that shift takes place, there's going to be a lot of trials and tribulations. And that's just the normal thing. That's human beings don't like to evolve. We only evolve when we have to. I mean, the dinosaurs didn't go extinct until there was a giant meteor that crashed into the earth. And that created this whole evolutionary scenario, which led to us, being able to rise and take dominance. So we're going through an evolutionary shift, and it's challenging, and it's I'm watching every day the news. Even though it's been, how long has it been? It's been over a year since we got into this COVID thing, and people are still dying like flies. We just came out of a lockdown. I'm in a bubble here in Queensland, Australia, where we don't have to deal with the kind of craziness that's been going on because, we're an isolated island continent here. But we just went through a really scary lockdown. So there's a huge shift coming. And in order to manage this shift and survive, we are going to need direct access to the Grand Masters. So, for those of you who are doing this work, you don't have to do anything different to get the experience of what I'm talking about. What I'm going to share with you is something that I've become more and more aware of with this practice, which is more than just having a connection like anybody can do when they face the Northwest. You face the Northwest and you ask a question or you ask to be given advice. The Ascended Masters, the elves, the bodhisattvas, whatever word you want to use, they, the perfected immortals, whichever word you want to use, they will talk to anybody who simply faces the Northwest and asks. But you can have them literally pipe the energy from their realm into your physical body. You can also have them come in and open up, like flip a switch inside your heart center, so that that lightning power, that most powerful energy in the human body, which is more powerful than Kundalini, more powerful than Chi, that energy can be released and can be released into the nervous system, into the energy meridians, into the body itself, and into the energy field, your energy field. And that is something that most humans, in fact, it's designed not to do that. It's designed to stay self-contained and protect the heart. It's designed to be this safety net. When somebody harms you, when you get your feelings hurt, when you get abused, when you get treated wrongly, when you get betrayed, even something as simple as, a lover rejects you. When something like that happens, your heart has to take that damage. And this is what the heart mind does, this power of lightning that surrounds the heart. That's what it does. Its job is to trap those wounds and keep it away from the soul. Because the soul doesn't function on that level. The soul doesn't understand it. If you and I were to leave our bodies and we were just to be two souls, even if I or you were the most evil, destructive human on the planet, because we were souls, we would be dealing on a whole different level. There's no deceit, there's no greed, there's no fear, there's no anger, there's no hatred. There's a complete oneness with everything and with each other, and there's this bliss. So it wouldn't matter. This is why, if you've been abused by parents, some people have really gotten a bad rap. Their parents really did a number on them. If your parents die, you'll notice that there will be a shift. And you'll notice that you may have dreams about them where they come and, will, ask for forgiveness, or there will be ways where you will know that they're not that same messed up person that caused you all that pain. Because they're no longer trapped in this avatar. And that is the lowest level of existence, is to just go through your life to be convinced that you are this avatar, which most people do. That's how the game works. You become completely, totally convinced that you are this avatar that you walk around pretending to be. And that's as far as it goes. And then people die, and then they wake up and they realize, oh, it was just this dream. It was just a video game. Oh, I get it now. Oh, I want to go back and do it again. This time I want to get it right. And then they come back and they bring their mistakes, their karma, the consequences of their actions. They bring that into the next life, whether that's positive and or negative. And then the same thing happens. They become lost in the character that they're playing. By the time that they're 4 or 5 years old, they become completely enmeshed in their character, and they forget, oh, that's right, I came here to learn this, I came here to accomplish that, and they have to play the game all over again. When you work directly with the heart center, especially with this lightning power, you have an ability to be infused with the vibration of that level. And again, if you think I'm trying to snow you, if you think I'm conning you, I give you this. It's free. It's literally one of the most advanced practices I have. And so if you don't know what I'm talking about, you don't trust me, go do it. Go do it and see what happens. You're going to feel a level of energy come into your heart and into your body, into your mind, that it vibrates on a level higher than, in my experience. Listen, I could be wrong. I only know what I've experienced, and I've studied a lot of esoteric stuff. I've learned things, and I still have a bunch of really cool practices in other traditions. Which is why in the 90-day lightning qigong, I combine Kundalini yoga, mantra, qigong and this lightning qigong as well. So I give you a practice that combines the two big ones that everybody knows, life force energy or prana or chi, and kundalini, which is the power of the psyche. I combine that with this heart-mind lightning energy. I don't know anybody else out there that, these guys didn't even do that. These guys who discovered this lightning force surrounding the heart, which according to Chinese medicine is called the emperor's bodyguard. I mean, there is nobody in the world who is more of a badass than the one person who is the bodyguard to the emperor. So that gives you an idea of the power of the heart-mind. And so instead of just having that be this passive protector that takes all of the damage and protects the emperor from, all of the pain that we experience in this two-dimensional world, what if you were to release that highly trained, extremely powerful bodyguard? What if you were to say, what if the bodyguard said, hey, look, Emperor, I know who's out to get you. If you just give me the okay, I will go and deal with these people. I will go and deal with this negativity. Imagine if you had that power released. That's why these guys had the ability to fight demons with their bare hands. And I learned that practice, and when I was training full bore, I experienced that. And I can tell you there's no power that comes close to it. When I was training hard, which I'm not training in that same way anymore, but when I was training, 3-4 hours a day, I mean, all I had to do was just touch you. You would either go to the ground and scream and cry, or I could do all kinds of things, and every single martial artist that wanted to spar with me, I would warn them ahead of time. I'd say, I'm just going to touch you. That's it. And they'd say, yeah, whatever. And I'd just tap them. And every time, they would never mess with me ever again. It's because this power of the emperor's bodyguard, the vibration of that power, there is nothing in this three-dimensional realm that can stand it. The only power that can tolerate it is the soul. And so when you release this energy, when you do these practices and you tap directly into that realm, when you have that realm transmitting its vibration directly into you, that is why, for those of you wondering, why am I having all of these emotional upheavals? That's why. Because as a human being, we have all these defense mechanisms, which are necessary, especially if you've gone through challenging times in your life, if you've been abused, if you've been harmed. We have these defense mechanisms. This is where all mental illness comes from. It's really popular now to talk about narcissists and how to destroy the narcissist and all that. Those people who we call narcissists, whether they are or not, is up for debate, but those are people whose defense mechanisms are going crazy because they were severely damaged. And it's a scale. Narcissism is a spectrum. And everybody has it. And narcissism, when it's functioning in a healthy way, allows you to individuate and function in life and protect your boundaries and be successful. And when it's overcompensation, when your narcissism goes towards the extreme and starts to be an overcompensation, you are always damaging to yourself and damaging to other people. And your actions in your feeble attempt to protect yourself end up causing you more damage and more harm. So when you do this practice, these practices I'm showing you here, when you do these things, you will have emotional challenges. There will be, whatever it is that is trapped in that, that the emperor's bodyguard is holding on to, because that's what the emperor's bodyguard does. It stands in front of the soul in the heart center and blocks all of the pain and all of the abuse and all of the disappointment and all of the challenges. And it holds on to it. It's actually a feminine deity. She holds on to it, waiting for you to then mourn, to go and mourn the loss of, I didn't get that person's love. Mommy beat me with a spoon when I was a kid. Daddy never took me out and played ball with me. My fiance died. My ex-wife cheated on me. These things the emperor's bodyguard is holding on to with her lightning power. She's holding on to it. And she's waiting for you to then go in and feel all that and love yourself and go through the process of, I didn't deserve this, but it did happen. It's very painful. And I understand that this individual was hurt also. You learn how to forgive. You learn how to love. Most people, when they talk about forgive and forget, they're usually talking about denial. And that's not what I'm talking about. Where you learn how to actually mourn. You have to have the power. You have to have the self-confidence. You have to feel connected. You have to feel love. That's why, little kids, right? Little kids will walk up to mom and their lip will be trembling. And all mommy has to do is hug them. And as soon as mommy hugs them, then the tears come out. They bawl and they cry and they release it. Because they're safe. They're surrounded by that feminine maternal energy. That energy resides surrounding your soul. And so it holds on to it, hoping that you will go and work through it. Now, having myself been through trauma that I wouldn't wish on anybody, I know that most of us just can't do it. We just don't have the ability. We just don't have the strength to go in there and let ourselves feel and see that in its full effect, because it's just too much. So we stuff it down, we deny it, we react to it, we become narcissists ourselves, we become abusers ourselves, all of that. Which is, by the way, all of that, whichever one it is, all of the victim mentality, the conspiracy theory mindset, is people who have been damaged, they've been hurt. They've been hurt, and they are projecting that hurt onto objective reality. And so they're finding, even, sometimes they're half right, about, I could go into specifics, but some of the conspiracies are half right. But instead of just stopping halfway, they go 100%. And then they end up, lashing out at the world and acting out in ways that damage them and keep them poor and miserable and angry and lonely. And that's because if we've been damaged, we don't feel that we have that feminine nurturing power that gives us the strength to mourn and release the pain. So this, I got into this. I got into this to become an immortal and to become invincible in the martial practice. Now, I never even got to the levels of my, the Grand Masters, which was where I was trying to go. But even at the level I got to, there came a point where I said, this is just overkill. There's just it's not even an issue anymore. And then it became about using that energy to perfect myself. And so what's been happening for me lately, to finally get to the point of all this, is that when I'm doing my practices, I then spend some time and just let myself get completely infused with the power of that level of the Ascended Masters, which is called the realm of great clarity, or the realm of great purity. And for those of you who have done it, you've noticed sometimes, like if you've, whichever it is, you can do the heaven earth qigong meditation, you can do this practice, you can do that. You'll notice that sometimes if you just sit afterwards, your body will start to move, right? Sometimes it'll sway in a circle, like you'll just find yourself without even realizing it swaying in a circle, which is your kundalini rising. You'll find that your body might start shifting, it might even start spontaneously sort of moving around, and you're wondering what's going on. Now you have control over this. You can choose to let it happen or not. But this is the beginnings of allowing your energy body to become a conduit for the ascended masters. And if you continue with this practice long enough, and if I get enough advanced practitioners, I'll start teaching you very specific ways that you can literally download, stuff that you wouldn't even begin to believe, the level of advanced energy and practices and awarenesses that are waiting for all of us. Because these ascended masters who sit in the realm of great purity, they've been doing this for tens of thousands of years. They know the most advanced practices that can turn you into an ascended master, turn you into an immortal, and give you powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. They have all that knowledge waiting. And what made this practice so powerful is that they, at the highest levels, they didn't need to follow a specific regimented pathway. They could simply use some very powerful techniques, some of which I teach you here, to connect directly to the highest realms where you get the highest, most advanced knowledge and practices, and you don't have to go through 30, 40 years of bowing at a guru's feet before you finally figured it out, or doing the normal qigong route, which is jing qi to shen, which takes decades before you get to the shen level, which is the spirit level, that you can access it directly. And you can have that energy go directly into your energy body. Now, the reason why these guys, the Mao Shan, were called black magicians is for this reason. Because, I'm going to be honest with you, there is a danger. The danger is if somebody who is not emotionally mature gets access directly to this, and plugs themselves in directly to this, it might make them loopy. And the reason for that is because they haven't dealt with the wounds in their heart. And so I've seen this happen. I've seen this happen to people who gained huge amounts of power by doing this practice. And because they simultaneously had the discipline to tolerate the upheaval of emotional issues that would come to the surface, and at the same time they weren't working through their wounds, they became Darth Vaders. They became evil, powerful sorcerers. But what ends up happening is that negative energy will come back and bite you in the end. That's why, in the Star Wars movies, that's why, Senator Palpatine, in the end always ends up old and looks really, he has all this power, but he looks so horrible and he's falling apart. And then finally he's like this corpse, that's falling apart but has all this power. That's symbolic of what happens when you gain this power, but you don't use it to heal yourself of the wounds. When you heal yourself of the wounds, then you become a Jedi. You become an ascended master. You become a perfected immortal. Now, those people will be fine. Those people that I mentioned, they'll have to come back and they'll have to work through. They'll choose to come back and they'll choose to work through their issues next time around. They may not choose to, they may choose to just be a normal human. But the thing about this practice, the reason why it's a left-hand practice, is because you get access to the highest, most condensed power that there is, the lightning power. and you have to be responsible with it. And if you're willing to go through the challenges of mourning and working through your narcissism, your pain, your ego, your hurt, and if you're willing to release that so that you can have more spare RAM in your hard drive, then your energy levels will go up beyond what you can imagine. So, there are ways to do that. And so if you're doing this practice, what I suggest you do, start out slowly, is that, after, let's say you've done this practice, doesn't matter what, whichever practice it is, you've done that practice and you're sitting and meditating. What I want you to do is try that. Try sitting there, and you can't see it, but I've got my palms open and my arms to the sides. And just close your eyes 3/4 of the way and breathe and face the northwest, and let that energy come into your heart and let it start moving through your whole body and see what happens. If it gets a little intense or frightening, not a problem. You can just choose to stop it. Just open your eyes and choose not to continue with it. If you want to go with it and see where it takes you, be prepared. You will be changed. You won't be the same person. This energy here wants to get rid of the parts of your narrative, the parts of your avatar that you have really attached yourself to. So remember, this is a video game. You've decided, I want to be the paladin warrior, right? So whatever it is, you take on whatever identity you take on. But once you get attached to that and you think that your life depends upon your attachment to this paladin avatar, then you're going to be limited by three-dimensional limitations. You'll have pain, you'll have misery, you'll have confusion, you'll have all the things associated with being a human. And so by allowing the heart center to connect directly to the realm of great purity, one of the first things that's going to happen is that energy is going to want to burn away your attachments to the things that you think are keeping you alive. It's going to burn away your attachment to your narcissism. And it might be very frightening. And there's no shame if you say, you know what, it's too much, I don't want to go any further with that. There's no shame. But if you want the power, you're going to have to be willing to die to yourself. This is what Odin did on the tree of life. He sacrificed himself, little s, to himself, big S. He died to himself. This is what the mythology of Jesus hijacked. It's supposed to represent that. It doesn't. It's a bad copy of that. But that's the whole idea. You die to your small self to resurrect to be your divine self. This is the fastest way to do that. But again, there's no free ride. So there's two paths. There's the right-hand path and the left-hand path. The right-hand path is the path of you follow the dogma, you follow the strict traditions, you follow these exercises and you do them exactly this way, and you do these very complicated, I'm specifically talking about like the Shaolin. Shaolin would be a good example. The Shaolin path, you follow very specific, paths, and it takes 10 or 20 or 30 years. The path of Tai Chi, the path of normal Qigong, it can take decades before you get to the level of Shen, which is spirit. That's the right-hand path. The discipline is what protects you from getting overwhelmed by the power and turning into an evil sorcerer. And if you don't have the maturity, you'll give up because you don't have the patience. That's the right-hand path. So the downside of the right-hand path is if you don't have the patience and the discipline and you're not willing to go and spend years and years and years maturing yourself, you won't get the power. The downside of this path, the left-hand path, is that the power is immediate. There's nothing blocking you between that realm of great clarity, of great purity. But then you're going to have to wrestle with your unconscious, which is going to fight you. The right-hand path, the unconscious defenses are slowly taken away as you slowly become aware of your true nature. So again, the downside is the patience and the discipline and the time. But it's very user-friendly. It's not super challenging to your ego or to your narcissism. The left-hand path, you get the power instantly, but then you have to be willing to fight with all of your narcissism. And bear in mind that what kills people is their narcissism. I'm going to make a big statement here, and it needs to be explained better, so on the surface people might not understand it. But all illness, cancer, Parkinson's disease, heart disease, whatever the hell it is simply your own narcissism attacking you. Science knows this. Your immune system attacks the body in all kinds of ways. Cancer is one example. But that's all that is that your narcissism is, which you created as a defense mechanism against abuse. So you did it for the right reasons. You created your narcissism for the right reasons. But it is an ineffective strategy, and you end up harming yourself. And so when that self-directed negativity, adds up, this is why people have age-related illnesses, because after 30, 40, 50, 60 years of self-directed negativity, it goes into the tissues and erupts as some kind of life-threatening illness. And listen, I'm not talking out of school here. I've experienced all of that. I still have to run into it. I'm still going through right now some big shifts, and I'm having to really stay conscious in order to keep, my old pain issues from flaring up. So I'm no different than any of you. Everything I say about you, I am also having to do. So those are your two choices. You can take the long path, and there's no shame if you decide, I want to do the Shaolin, taking 30 years to get there. There's no shame in that. It's the same. We end up in the same place. If you want to do the left-hand path, you can do that too. And you have to be aware of your limitations to know how deep you want to go into it. If it starts getting too intense and you start coming apart at the seams and you're not ready to die to yourself like Odin did on the Tree of Life for 9 days and scream as the runes, the mysteries of the universe were revealed to him. If you don't want to have that kind of intense experience, I don't blame you. I've taken years off this path. When I did this, the first however long I was doing it, for 10 years, I had to take some years off. I couldn't function. I had tons of power. I was invincible, and I could see and experience, and I had all this energy, but I wasn't able to function in real life. I was going nuts. It was very difficult because I didn't live on a mountaintop surrounded by other monks who were doing. I lived in Los Angeles. It was very hard. So do what you can. If you do this practice, this is a very powerful one, the free one. Experience what you can and feel free to back off. And if you only do it every few days, do what you're comfortable with. There's no buddy quizzing you. There's nothing that you have to accomplish. It's completely on you, what you want to do. All right. So if you're doing this, that's my suggestion, is at the end, open yourself up, focus on this center after you've opened up the heart mind, and open your palms towards the northwest and see what the energy wants to do. Always make sure, I'll shut up with this, this is very important, you must ground afterward. So at the very least, you have to close by doing the Hool breath. Or take your hands right over left and put them over your navel center and breathe long and deep into your navel center for at least 3 minutes. And then you can do some self-massage. You must ground afterwards. Otherwise, your energy will be at that high vibration and it can short out some circuits. Okay? It's very powerful stuff. It's nothing to play around with. That's why me doing this, I'm breaking the rules. My teachers, if they knew that I was teaching this online, they would, 20 years ago, they would be furious with me. I don't care anymore because I believe I'm, the Ascended Masters have given me a mandate to do it. And there was somebody, I deleted the comments, but apparently some Taoist practitioner said, run. Do not listen to what this person has to say. If what he's saying is true, this is very dangerous and nobody should be doing this. There's some truth to what he says. That's why I didn't bother to argue with him, because, for some people, they shouldn't play around with this. Some people shouldn't get anywhere near it. But I think the risk is worth it because we need this power to evolve. All right. Having said that, now I'm happy to take any questions. This is a question and answer. I only want your questions, your honest questions, or your honest feelings. Those are the only two things I want. If you do anything other than that, you make yourself a target for my laser-like psychoanalysis, and I may psychoanalyze you for everybody else's benefit, and you might not like what I say. So write the word question in all caps, and then write your question, and I'll be happy to look at it. Otherwise, again, you're putting a target on your forehead. So vincent.thunderwizard.com, he is one of my certified Vedic astrologers. He says hello. You can go to his website, vincent.thunderwizard.com. I gotta give that guy, give Vincent a tip of the hat, because if you want to be successful in this world, you have to be ruthless, and you have to be willing to continuously work at it. And every time I go live, he shows up and says hello, knowing that I will give you his website. He doesn't have any shame about his own success in that regard. So he's a good lesson for all of us. All right, so Agent of the Universe says, I used to believe in conspiracy theories. I used to believe in conspiracy theories. I'm now speaking carefully, letting my thoughts and feelings flow and writing from my soul. Okay. Nimsaj says, I did that practice once the other day and I felt energy everywhere. I was shaking of energy. Yes, it's very powerful. Dakota Spruill question, is citrine related to the goddess Chamundi? You're asking me a Vedic astrology question. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. So what he's asking, in case you want to know, is in the Vedic astrological readings that I give people what, according to their chart, is what their gemstone is. There's a specific planet that everybody has that's called the Dharma Devata, which means the deity of your destiny. And it has to do with you living your true path. And there is a planet that is associated with that. And that planet, for instance, mine is Moon. So in order for me to follow my true destiny, I have to meditate, number one, work with life force energy, which the Moon is the nurturing life force energy of the universe. And I must also see everybody as my family. I must look at things from that nurturing perspective. And so when I wear a moonstone, which is why I wear one whenever I do anything, what it does is it connects me to that vibration, and you, whether you realize it or not, are being unconsciously stimulated by it. And that's why it's called a good luck pendant, because when you wear it, people respond positively to you. They give you jobs. They want to hang out with you. You're successful in what you do. So Dakota's asking me about citrine. Is that associated with Mars? Because that's the goddess Chamundi is Mars. And I don't know the answer to your question offhand. So you can look that up. Look up Vedic astrology, Mars, gemstone. And you'll find lists of, usually it's red coral and red garnet. I don't know what citrine is. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't know. Agent of the universe, I have eliminated political commentary and memes that don't serve me. I'm shedding things that I thought were hard to shed, but it's being done. Good for you. Coming from him, that's a big deal. So you've obviously done a lot of work. Keep it up. He says, I've also lost a ton of weight, was 300 pounds. Wow, I didn't know that. And I've gotten down to the 200s. I've been drinking more water and eating more salads. Good for you. That's awesome. Coming from you, all that stuff, that's a big deal. All right, so let's get to the questions here. Buddy Helm question, best direction to face for critical thinking? That's actually a good question. So, Buddy, what you would need is you'd need to go to vincent.thunderwizard.com or to astrology.thunderwizard.com and get a reading, because your specific direction that's going to help you is going to be different than somebody else's. Okay, so for instance, if you were worshiping the moon, if the moon was your Dharma Devata, for example, then you would want to face the northwest. Actually, that's not completely accurate, because it depends on what sign the moon is. So let's say your moon was in Aries. Since Aries is Mars, you would face the direction of Mars, which would be south. But you would worship the moon while facing the southern direction. If, let's say, you had moon in Aries and you needed to worship the moon because the moon was your Dharma Devata. So there isn't one direction for critical thinking. Critical thinking is based, if we're breaking it down into the directions, it's going to be based on which direction your chart tells you you need to face in order to become aware of what your unconscious self-defense mechanisms are. Because that's all critical thinking is being able to think beyond your self-defense mechanisms. And most people can't do that. Which is why, just to give you an example, I haven't publicly stated my decision about the vaccine one way or another. And that's because my critical thinking is telling me that that number one, I live in a bubble, so I'm not in any rush. If there was a rush, I would be in a different place. If people were dying around me left and right and there was, hundreds of COVID cases, in the neighborhood, I would be thinking differently about the vaccine. I have the luxury right now. I don't have to get it because there's nobody around for hundreds of miles. There's only, very, very few cases in this part of the world. So I get to take my time and I get to do some research. And the research is, I have talked to people whom I know. I have friends in Los Angeles who had COVID and have recovered. And I know what that, at least the earlier versions of it do. I also have heard of people who have died from it. And I've heard stories of people who know people who've gotten the vaccine and they had some negative side effects. And that is there. And there's also people like my friend who had COVID and he had long COVID. His COVID symptoms were not going away. He got a vaccine, an mRNA vaccine, and it got rid of all of his symptoms. It actually helped him. So this is where critical thinking says, when is something sometimes true and sometimes false? When is something partially true and partially false? So the objective facts are that there's a small percentage that the mRNA vaccines can have negative side effects. And since I have the time to wait, I'm waiting. That's critical thinking. To go off and say that the vaccine is like taking vitamins. It's the best thing for you. That's not 100% accurate. And to say that the vaccine is connecting you to alien machines where they're magnetizing you, that's not true either. There's a truth in the middle there. But you have to be willing to get over your defense mechanisms in order to see the truth. And that's all that critical thinking is. is just being able to see the truth for what it is without any agenda, and being able to live in a gray area where things are both good and bad. Like I've said here about this, I know people who have gotten very deep into this and they went bonkers because they weren't willing to work through their psychological issues. And the blowback was very challenging to them. I teach this stuff in a way where I don't teach it in a way that they did. They were teaching to people's greed and fear and ego. And so that's going to cause, that's again, it's just like Star Wars. You can learn about the Force and you can still be taught by, a Jedi. But if you decide to go take it because you're unwilling to deal with your anger, you can become Darth Vader. And if you listen to Senator Palpatine teach you about, how to use the Force to delve into your hate, it can be very damaging for you. Whereas if you listen to Obi-Wan, who says, no, we operate from the way of maturity and love and all of that, you can tap into this power and you can become, a Jedi. That takes being willing to not operate from your defense mechanisms, your fear, your greed. You have to be willing to feel that and not act on it. So that's critical thinking. So in terms of you, back to your question, which direction should you face? Go to vincent.thunderwizard.com and ask him. He'll tell you. What else? Yeah, I wasn't citrine that I remember, Dakota. The Yellowstone Chamundi. You're not spelling Chamundi right, by the way. Chamundi is Chamundi. So that's who you want to go Google. Okay? And again, I forget there's a powder, a yellow powder or something like that. Maybe it's a spice. It's a yellow spice that's associated with Chamundi, if I'm remembering it correctly. But I want you to research it on your own to determine that. Let's see, what else? Agent of the universe, honest feeling. You were right about women. When you stop chasing them and just be your authentic self, they'll chase you. Yep. Jade Dragon, question. I did the free practice 3 times this week. Are you talking about the summoning the Immortals Qigong, which I'm showing you right here? You did that practice? There's a ton of free practices, by the way. All somebody has to do is go on to my YouTube channel page and go to the playlists, and there's no shortage of free, all kinds of stuff. So again, there's no reason for anybody to complain about me charging money for my practices, because there's probably more free practices than there are paid. So I'm assuming that you mean the whatever it is. I'm getting loopy talking about this stuff. Doing the summoning the Immortals Qigong. So you said, I did the free practice 3 times this week. I had a lot of emotions come up and felt really relaxed at the same time. That's exactly how it is. That is the mother. So that's the feminine power. She's surrounding you like mom does. She relaxes you. She says it's okay. And then she says, tell me what's wrong. You ever notice that? A real mother, you're crying, your lip is quivering. The kids in the park or on the school ground were mean to you, and you don't want to cry because you'll get, somebody will make fun of you. You don't want to go to dad because dad will say, don't cry, don't show any emotion. Go back, here's a baseball bat, go take care of him. You go to mom and your lip is quivering and mom says, come here. And mom gives you a hug, and then you feel the warmth and the love and the relaxation. And then she says, what's wrong? And she wants to hear you talk about how your feelings were hurt. She wants you to cry. She wants your tears on her breast. She wants your pain, and she nourishes you through it. That's what you're talking about. You do the practice, and a lot of emotions come up, but at the same time, you're feeling relaxed and nourished and safe. That's the power of the lightning, the lightning goddess that surrounds your heart. Should I meditate or relax and look at my emotions? instead of doing practice, or can I keep doing the energy practice? You can keep doing the energy practice, but it is helpful. It is helpful. What started happening for me, because I upped my practice a little bit, I started having some joint pain, which flares up every now and then, and I know what it is. It's purely emotional. And I went into it, and I did my practices, and I went into the pain, and I said, what's bothering you? And a very old memory from childhood came up, where I had been shamed out of, I won't get into it. Very painful thing came up, and instead of being angry, I went into the feelings of pain and confusion, because that's what happened. I was confused. I was confused that somebody would treat me a certain way, and it shocked me and confused me, and it was painful. And so I allowed myself to have the pain, and I allowed myself to have the confusion, and I, treated myself the way a good parent would. And I told my, younger self, I said, you have every right to be hurt and confused by that. That was very, very destructive. That was very narcissistic of those people to do that to you. And guess what? The pain went away. The feelings stayed. Not the anger, not the I'm going to get revenge. Those feelings didn't heal me. I tried doing that, and that didn't go anywhere. So I went deeper into the more vulnerable feelings of confusion, sadness, and pain. And guess what? The physical pain went away. I'm telling you, that's what's going on. People dying of all kinds of things. They're not doing that. I don't judge them, because it's very challenging. This practice is a cheat. It gives you that power to go and have the feelings. It's releasing the wounds in your heart center so you can have them. So to answer your question, should you keep doing the practice? Yeah, you can keep doing the practice and have the feelings. I've done the practice, tears coming down my face as I'm moving and doing the practice. I've also done the practice, filled myself with energy because it feels really good, and then meditated, and then, the next day I'll cry about it. It doesn't matter. There's no one way to do it. But the point is that you want to get to the most vulnerable feelings. At some point, if you need to, go get a counselor. That's what they're there for. Go get a counselor, a psychologist, a therapist, a mentor, somebody you can sit down and talk to and share your feelings with, get them out in the open. And this will, as cheesy as that sounds, going to a therapist and crying over, when your mommy was mean to you, will make you a perfected immortal. You want to have the power to move things? You want to have the power to levitate? Go to your therapist and cry over how mommy hurt your feelings. I'm dead serious about that. Let's see. Lushka, if you're new to the channel, you see people are writing the word question in all caps and then asking a question. They do that because otherwise I might miss their question. If your question wasn't right at the end of that sentence, I would have missed it, because I don't read people who aren't asking me a question. So do that. Otherwise, I won't. You want me to answer your question? Make sure that I see it. You say, how can I find which gods or a specific god, specifically the Norse god, can help me in ritual with my son being in my Dharma Devata? Right, so your son isn't in your Dharma Devata. Your son either is or isn't your Dharma Devata. So you're not explaining this to me right. My son being in my Dharma Devata, and my main planet helping me with my actions is Mars. All right, so again, that's I don't know what you're saying. The way I can't figure out what you're talking about. You need to talk to your astrologer. So if you have a Vedic astrologer, you need to talk to them and you need to ask them. But you're not going to be able to figure out. So sun is not the same as Mars. So you haven't told me which planet are you trying to worship. So in any case, talk to your Vedic astrologer. In terms of the Norse deities don't follow the same strict planetary associations. So if you wanted to worship Jupiter, for example, Thor would be the obvious choice, but Thor is also a war god. He's also Jupiter retrograde because he's the lightning god. Odin would be Mercury, but Odin is also a war god. Tyr is Mars, but Tyr is actually Jupiter. Originally Tiwaj was Dieus Pater, the Sky Father, which is Jupiter. So you can't be that specific with Norse deities. You can make some associations, but it's not as cut and dry. So again, I would talk to your astrologer. Dakota Sproul, question. Please do it in all caps, Dakota. If the Ascended Masters are in the northwest, are the Devas in the southeast? No, the Devas are in the northeast. Northeast is what? The realm of the highest heavens. The realm of the gods. That's the northeast is the highest ethereal energy. The Ascended Masters have their own realm, which is the northwest, which is the realm of the elves, the Ascended Masters. And they live in the realm of great purity, of great clarity. So this is a great question that you've stumbled on. What's the difference between the realm of the highest heavens, which is the gods, and the realm of the Ascended Masters, which is the realm of great clarity or purity? What is the difference? So the realm of the highest heavens is the gods. The gods are not incarnated beings. The gods live in timelessness. They don't live in space and time. So of all of the 9 worlds, there are only 2 fortresses. The realm of the gods in the northeast is a fortress. Asgard, the fortress of the As, the Aesir, the Asuras. By the way, the Hindus got it backwards now. Asuras are not demons. The word Asura originally was a word for the Devas. Deva is something else. It means divine. So the word Asura and Deva are synonyms. The Rakshasas, I think it is. Those are the demons. And so they miss up that word anyway. But there's only 2 realms that are that are fortresses. And the northeast, the realm of the gods, is a fortress. And the other fortress is where we live, which is in Middle Yard or Midgard, the fortress of the middle. We literally live in the place where all of the other worlds converge their energies. That's what this is, right? We live here in the center, Middle Guard. There's a fortress around it. And so that fortress is because all of this energy is coming, constantly bombarding the middle 3-dimensional world. So we're being bombarded by all of the energy from the other 8 worlds. So in order for us to not go crazy, we have to be guarded. This is why, when people go through, a Kundalini awakening or an energy awakening, sometimes they go crazy because it's just way too much energy. Like in the movie Man of Steel, one of the latest Superman movies, when Superman, as a kid is growing up, he can't handle all of the sensory input. It's too much for him. So we have to be protected. So those are the 2 fortresses. Now, what is the difference? Well, the gods are children. This is why when you look at people who are very right-winged politically, all of you who are right-winged, those of you who are really proud about being right-winged, have you noticed they always talk about judgment? They always talk about righteousness. They always talk about the evil this, the evil that. We need to protect ourselves from those Muslims. We need to protect ourselves from those immigrants. The people need to be married to somebody of the opposite sex, otherwise it's evil. This is why you end up with people who are in law enforcement and the military. They tend to be very right-wing politically because that black and white thinking is very immature. It's very childish. The gods are children. They can only see things in black and white. And things are either pure or they're evil. So they have no experience. They're very immature. They have no experience. But they have this purity of being. They're like these, well, they're not like, they are these beings that have just come into existence. They're the purity. They represent the highest ideal of spiritual purity. This is why, the whole idea of Moses looking at the burning bush, that's what that's all about. The whole idea of not being able to look God with your eye, your human eyes, or your eyes will burn out of your sockets. That's that feeling. So that's the gods. When you worship the gods, whichever god it is, the gods on Mount Olympus, you're filled with this passion, and then you go to righteously, indignantly destroy the evildoers. Your intentions are good, but three-dimensional reality is a gray zone. There is no black and white. That's why critical thinking. When is something 100% true and 100% false? Never. Nothing is ever 100% anything. When is something sometimes true and sometimes false? Every single time. When is something partially true and partially false? Every single time. There's always, a catch. There's always an exception to the rule. Nobody is all 100% good or 100% bad. Not in this three-dimensional realm. In the realm of the gods, they are 100% perfect and good, but they live in timelessness. They live in eternity. So they have to protect themselves from time. So they live in a fortress. And that's why they fight with, in the Vedic tradition, why the Devas fight with the Asuras, because the Asuras are the gods of time and space. These are the demons because they seek power, they seek magic. They're the gods of fertility, right? So the Asuras would be Venus and Saturn and Rahu. These are all, like Venus is the god of love and lust and procreation and magic and food and sensuality. And the gods look at that and say, such debauchery, because they live in timeless purity. So they fight with that because they can't tolerate that. So the realm of the Ascended Masters, which is in the Northwest, this is the realm of greatest maturity. The realm of the gods is the greatest immaturity. That's why Agent of the Universe, who used to call himself God Emperor, when he was God Emperor, he was very, and he'll back this up, he was very judgmental about anybody that didn't have his viewpoint. And he wanted to control the universe. He was acting like a god. So he was right, calling himself God Emperor, because he was coming from that state. But the realm of the Ascended Masters is a realm of experience. These are humans who have, over thousands of lifetimes, who have perfected themselves through experience in time and space, have transcended time and space. The gods are what happens when the soul, before it becomes incarnated. So if right now those gods that live in that purity, if they were to become human, they would have a very harsh, difficult time making their way through it, because like little kids, nothing is 100% one way or the other. You have to learn subtlety. You have to learn to live in the middle. You have to learn to love and forgive and accept and have humility. All those things that when you're brand new, you're infinite being that's brought into existence, but you don't have any experience, then you're filled with all of this black and white thinking. So that's the difference. The realm of great clarity means you have clarity. You see, you understand. Realm of great purity. So you have purified yourself. The realm of the gods, the highest heavens, is the most intense, bright, beautiful, amazing. If you're there, you would be overwhelmed with the bliss of it, but you would then, if you tried to apply that to three-dimensional reality, you would be harsh. You would be, you'd become a born-again Christian. You'd become a dogmatist. You shall bow before me and follow all of my commands, or I will throw you into hell. Okay, so I hope that helps you understand. In the Taoist tradition, there are two what's called ghost doors. And the first ghost door is the northeast, which is ironic because the northeast is where in Vedic tradition, the best place to put an altar is in the northeast, because that's the realm of the gods. Why would you put an altar there? The altar there acts like a barrier. It protects you. When you worship the gods in ritual, you protect yourself from their, what's the word I want to use? From their intolerance. You protect yourself from projecting onto them, or having them project onto you their intolerance of imperfection. So that altar acts as a barrier between you in Midgard and the Northeast, because if that barrier around the Northeast were unleashed, we wouldn't be able to tolerate the perfection of it. It's too much. We live in imperfection. It would destroy us, which is again why dogmatic religious people are the ones that go to war. These are the people that went off into, to start the Crusades and started, going into other people's lands and started killing and destroying people for no reason. This is why those same people, Islam went all over the world, and, the word Islam means I surrender. It doesn't mean I submit, I'm humble. It means I surrender, because the Muslims would come in, they'd put a knife to your throat, and they'd say, do you submit to Allah? Yes, Islam, Islam, Islam. I give up, I surrender. It's the same thing. It's that realm of great purity that makes people dogmatic and makes them killers and makes them judgmental. So they can't tolerate anything they don't see as perfect. That altar protects you from that. That is a ghost door. Demons can come through that door. The demons of self-righteousness can come through the door of the northeast. The southwest is another ghost door for obvious reasons, because the southwest is the realm of the underworld. That's where the actual demons live. That's where humans who have not achieved their highest awareness, they go to the underworld. They bring all of their pain, their misery, their sadness, their revenge, their anger, their guilt. That's where that all is stored, in the unconscious mind. And so that is a ghost door. You don't want to open that door. If you've noticed, when you face the southwest and you do the whole breath, what is the posture? The palms are faced down, meaning like you're pushing down, keeping the lid on. I made the mistake once, not knowing what I was doing. I was experimenting, and I turned around and I unleashed the southwest onto the northeast, and my life went to hell, literally, because I was releasing all of my unconscious garbage. So you should put an altar in the northeast and have the one thing that the gods do well is they keep the unconscious in its place. With their self-righteous stare of perfection, they stare down the demons in your unconscious. So that is a good, from the northeast to the southwest, you want to keep that, like it is, where the northeast is above and the southwest is below. We could get deep into where all the directions are. I could do that. I've done that in other videos, but now you understand on a deeper level. The northwest, because this is, the soul goes through this in a clockwise fashion. Let's see, for you, clockwise is this way. So for you, this is the northeast. The soul comes from emptiness It comes into existence, but it's a child. It's pure. It hasn't been in this realm yet, but it is a child. It is immature. It sees things in dualistic black and white terms. It comes into the East and is manifest, and it gets an ego. So what happens here? Thor fights in the East to keep the giants, which is the ego out of control, narcissism. He keeps narcissism at bay. So here the danger is you become narcissistic. But if you don't get an ego, you can't function. So you learn to have a healthy ego here in the East. In the Southeast, you learn to work with your meditative mind so that you can see things objectively and be able to really understand how the mind, not the intellect, works. And here you have your intention, where the dwarves create in three-dimensional reality. You go to the south, which is the realm of fire, of purification. This is where your soul goes out into the world and is purified through the battles that it goes through to establish itself. And then, which way? This way? No, this way. And then in the southwest, you have the underworld. You have the underworld, which is the unconscious. So here, after you purify yourself, you fall down, you don't win the gold medal, you get fired for insubordination, whatever it is, because you tried to dominate the world and you were purified. Then you go to the underworld and you look through what you did, what your self-centered narcissistic actions were, and you overcome that, and with that comes knowledge. And then you come to the West, where the Vanir live. The Vanir are the gods of time and space, the gods of wisdom, the gods of experience. That's why they're called the elder gods. They're not called the elder gods because they've been around longer than the Aesir. It's that the Aesir don't live in time, so they have no experience. They have no real world experience about, you can't be black and white about everything. You can't always demand that everybody be perfect, right? You can't do that in three-dimensional reality. These gods realize that, and these are the grandparents. You go to your mom and your dad, who are new, and they tell you don't do this, or you're a bad boy or a bad girl. And then you go to grandma and grandpa, and they give you a lollipop, and they say, mommy's a little uptight today, but here's what you should do. And if you really want to do good at this, and then grandpa goes out and he teaches you how to fish, or he teaches you how to play pool, or whatever it is, right? These are the gods of experience, the elder gods. And then you come up here, once the person has died, they've achieved everything and all the knowledge, then they die, they don't need to be reincarnated anymore, and here they live in the realm of great clarity, of great purity, and they look down upon the humans and they teach them how to become like they are. This is the difference between these two realms. So you can worship this realm and you will be filled with power, you will be filled with awe and reverence and inspiration to go and conquer the world for good. But you have to do it ritually. You have to follow the ritual, the rules of the ritual, so that you don't get overblown with your own self-righteous ego. And when you deal with these guys, they always have good advice. This is the realm in Taoist understanding. This is the realm of good advice. They always have good advice. They tell you what you need to do that will help you and help others. See how all this stuff works? So that was a great question. The Devas are not in the southeast. The southeast is the realm of the dwarves. All right. Let's see. Where are we here? Agent of the Universe question. I've created my own mythology and it feels very much alive. I've been told it's infused with feminine energies within the writings. How do I balance the feminine energies with the masculine energy? Agent of the Universe, you're on your own here. Experience will teach you. I don't know what your mythology is. Go and enjoy that and let us know how you've worked that out. All right, let's see what else. Dakota Spruill, saffron. Yeah, I think that's right. Saffron is the thing that she likes. Chamundi likes saffron. Let's see. Johann Kunt, welcome to the channel. So the way I do this is question and answers. So if you see beneath your writing, you see somebody writes the word question in all caps. Do that and then ask a question. That's how I want you to ask questions. Johan, question. You are Draco hybrid, I understand? No, I'm not. Those old videos of me, doing the reptilian thing, that was a parody. Don't take me seriously. There are no such thing as Dracos. There's no such thing as reptilians. We all have a reptilian brainstem, but that whole reptilian stuff is nonsense. I was doing that in an attempt to teach through parody, and it didn't work, so I stopped doing it because people took me literally. People thought I was saying literally that I was a hybrid, and that's new age nonsense. To answer your question, what else? Guy home. That's not a question. Okay. What else? Okay. Agent of the universe. You're still not free of your dynamic. Okay. So you're still suffering from the same. You take things too literally, and you're too black and white about things. It's time to just be human. This is what you're missing here. So it's great that you're no longer into conspiracy theories, and it's great that you're no longer into all of that black and white thinking, but you're still in black and white thinking. When you say, I'm formless because I'm surrendering to the universe, one of my aspects, I want you to stay human for a while. Stop trying to be perfect. Stop trying to be God Emperor, or just be human. You're not formless. I mean, I understand what you're saying. You're a human. And what will benefit you is to look at your emotional blind spots, where you are emotionally, you need to gain some healing and some maturity. Okay? Keep going in the direction you're going, though. You're going in the right direction. Guy home, if you have a question, write the word question. Is shamanic journeying also a practice you recommend to meet them? I have shamanic journeying videos. Go watch those. Anyway. What else? So you're just saying through shamanic journeying. So you're not really asking a question. You're telling us that through shamanic journeying you've learned a lot. So good. I've learned a lot through shamanic journeying as well. This isn't shamanic journeying. So there's a difference. I do it. Shamanic journeying is a way of working with one's unconscious. It's a way of either learning what's in your unconscious, or the unconscious is what is used to communicate with other beings, if you really are because sometimes a shamanic journey is just journeying to your own unconscious characters within your own psyche, which is just as powerful. You can learn just as much from talking to the aspects of yourself within your unconscious. This is different than that. This is actually opening up a channel directly to beings that live in the Northwest that communicate with you directly. So I'm not competing. One is not better than the other. They're different. Let's see. So you guys are talking to each other here. So Johan, you're new to the channel. So here's my suggestion to you. I suggest that you spend some time actually watching my videos. Watching my videos and understanding what I teach. The people who are asking me the questions I like the most are people who have been working and studying underneath me or with my videos, and so they ask me direct questions about what I teach. If you just got here, you can't know what I teach, so you can't ask me, good knowledgeable questions about what I teach. Imagine you're walking into a PhD classroom in physics or philosophy, and you're just coming off the street and you start throwing questions at the professor. They're going to say, hey, hang on, you need to go take philosophy 101 first, then come in. So spend some time on my channel before you start just dumping your questions on here. You're welcome here, but I'm really looking for people who have questions that are associated to what I teach. So you haven't shown me that you have that knowledge yet. All right, what else? Dakota Spruill question, is there a rune you can chant that helps with physical healing? Yes. It is the rune of healing. Hagalaj. Chant Hagalaj. That will heal. Another healing rune, which is a rune of power, which is really not a rune of healing, it's a rune of health, which is Uruj. So I would chant Hagalaj and Uruj, which is, guess what? The first two letters of what? The Hul breath. So if you want healing, guess what you should chant? The Hul breath. What else? Buddy Helm, thoughts on shamanic dance magic. Buddy Helm, what you're talking about is spontaneous dancing. That is what I'm talking about. If you do what I suggested earlier, and you do this, if you do this practice that I'm showing you right here, which is the Immortals Qigong, if you do that, then when that energy is flowing, that would be a good time to do some spontaneous dance, meaning you are letting the energy move your body around. You kind of have to be careful with all that stuff. And so this is why I normally don't teach the spontaneous stuff until after somebody has a really good foundation in the Qigong and the meditation and the grounding. Then you can start playing around with the spontaneous stuff. But there's nothing stopping you. If you want to do spontaneous dance, there's nothing stopping you. Go right ahead. Okay, Lushka says, you can be an asshole sometimes, but I thank you for it. Lushka, that's the last time you're going to talk to me like that. If you want to be on my channel and not be blocked, you will not talk to me like that again. Let me explain to you why. Whatever you may think of me personally, I have a job to do. My job is to teach according to the way I'm supposed to teach. And I am a teacher who gives you the bitter medicine, which means that when I see that you are not, and you come onto my channel, bear in mind, I'm not knocking on your door. Lushka, I didn't come to your door, knock on your door, and say, hey, I'm going to teach you. Come onto my channel. You came to me. Okay? So my job is for people that come to me, I am here to be a mirror. And that means sometimes I'm going to reflect back your unconscious bullshit, which is not serving you. It's not helping you to grow and evolve. And I'm going to teach you ways how to access and communicate with the masters and the gods so that you can learn directly. And part of that is learning how to respect our relationship. It has nothing to do with me personally. I could care less if you like me, dislike me. I have other things to do than make this video. But when I tell you how to address me and how to function and how to do certain things, and you think I'm being an asshole, it's because my thought is, how can I best help you get in the right mindset and the right vibration to learn directly from the universe? Because if you don't do it certain ways, the universe is gonna shut itself off from you. And I'm one of the few people that don't care what you think. I'm one of the few teachers on YouTube that don't care whether you love me or not. I'm not Abraham Hicks. I'm not here to placate your ego and your fear and your greed in order to get you to love me and to follow me and to go on cruises with me around the world for $5,000. I give this shit away to you for free. I give you more free stuff than the stuff I charge for. And I am going to tell you the truth whether you like it or not. And if that means you experience that harshly, I'm okay with that. If that means that drives you away, so much the better. But I am not going to placate you. So that's the last time I'm going to let you talk to me like that. I should block you right now for it. You want to interact with me, you're going to have respect for the energies that are teaching through me. And if you don't see that, you have every right not to respect me. That means that you're not meant to be my online student. So you have to decide, if I have something that you want, then it's in your best interest to get out of your narcissism and your childishness and learn how to say thank you, for that harshness. But if you don't respect it, then go somewhere else. Respect yourself enough to go somewhere else. Okay? So that's it. It's the last time I'll put up with that from you. Specifically the healing. Yeah, you can do both of those. You can do the Hagalaj. They're both runes for healing. Hagalaj and Uruz. The Scottish Sproul question, is it the hell of hungry ghosts in the southeast? No. There's only one hell, and that's the southwest. The southeast. So Dakota, welcome. If you haven't got my books, you can get my books. If you go to courses.thunderwizard.com, you'll see books. Thunder Shamanism. I talk about the directions. Go and search my channel. I've got Thunder. I'm pretty sure I read the book Thunder Shamanism on the channel. So go and research on the channel the 8 directions and all that, and you'll see what's in which direction. So the southeast is the realm of the dwarves. It's not the realm of any hell. There's only one hell, and that's the underworld in the southwest. What else? Guy Home question, why is the Thunder Wheel different from the Yggdrasil map and Asgard above? I don't know what you're talking about. The Thunder Wheel isn't different. I haven't said anything different. Asgard is in the northeast. That's where the gods live. So I don't know what you're talking about. Hell under Midgard. I don't know what Yggdrasil map. That didn't come from me. So don't bring in stuff other people have shared, because that's nonsense. At the very least, I don't agree with it. Stick with one thing that works. If you want to work with the Thunder Wheel, work with the Thunder Wheel. I don't know what the Yggdrasil map is. I don't know who made it. I don't know where it came from. Yeah, I don't know. That's some other tradition. Somebody else is trying to piece things together, and I think they're doing it inaccurately. Lorena Greco question, how would you interpret Gebo in the southwest in a 9-world rune reading? Gebo in the southwest, that means that in your unconscious mind, whatever the question is, your deepest unconscious motivation is equal exchange of energy or generosity. So whenever you have a rune that is not, like if you have a rune that's flipped upside down in the southwest, that is potentially a problem, because that means on an unconscious level, meaning you're not consciously aware of it, there's something out of balance. So when you have a powerful rune like Gebo in the southwest, that means on the deepest unconscious level, then you or whomever is wanting to have there be an equal exchange of energy or generosity. So that's a good sign. All right. Dakota says I was going to ask about your books. Yeah, okay. All right. Lushka apologizes. You are forgiven. Bear in mind, everything I do, I swear to you, everything I do on this channel, whether I'm doing it from my highest awareness or whether I'm in a bad mood or, whatever, everything I do on this channel the focus is to help people evolve. That's all I care about. I'm only interested in the world evolving. I have really strong opinions about some things. Unfortunately, I don't have the karma to talk about politics. I wish I could, but I can't. The universe says that's not what you're here to do. I am here to show, to reveal, to pull people's unconscious psychological dress up so that we can see your undies. My job is to show you what's going on in your unconscious mind. You're not necessarily supposed to like it, but my main goal is to do. I want to, when I leave this planet, When I leave this planet, I want to make sure, I want to look back, and there's two things that I want. I want to know that I did everything that my soul wanted, that there is nothing that I have left. That I had all the sex I want to have, that I've surfed all the waves that I want, that I've eaten all the good food, that I've done all the exercises, that I've climbed all the mountains and hiked all the forests, and I'll start kayaking, whatever. I want to look back and go, there's nothing that I've missed. I've done absolutely everything I want to do. That's my goal. The second one is that I left this world, and I left every bit of knowledge that I found and was given to me, that I've left it here. I've left it here for somebody else to pick up and do something with. And I'm not here to make, as much as I want to be loved and admired, and as much as I love having friends, I am not here to make friends in terms of this teaching. I'm looking for students that have the ability to evolve and have the ability to learn what I have to teach. And those students that are able to follow through and have that ability and have the maturity, I'll teach people at whatever level they can tolerate. But when I find more and more students who can handle it, I'll teach everything. I want to leave this world and say I didn't leave anything behind. There was no knowledge I forgot to give, because that'll mean I'll have to come back. I'll have to come back and teach it. So I want to make sure that everybody gets it. And that means I'm going to teach you the truth, whether you like it or don't like it. You don't like it, not my problem. Plenty of places to go. All right, so Dakota Spruill. Question: if you have a deity and a mantra and a direction, what do you do with the liquid you leave out for the deity? I think we talked about that. So remember, I gave you a link, and anybody listening, if you go onto my channel and look for the video about the 40-day mantra discipline, that should have that in there. But if it didn't, if a liquid is part of your offering, then when you're done with the mantra, you drink the liquid, because the liquid has been infused with the power of the mantra that you've been chanting. So the deity has come to live in that liquid. And when you drink the liquid, you are infusing every cell in your body with the power of that deity, the vibration of that mantra. So you drink it, and then you just meditate on it going into every cell, nourishing every cell of your body. All right? No more questions. All right, we're done today. Okay, so that's it. So we've got the 90-day challenge. It is a subscription. And I don't understand why people say I can't afford it. How can you not afford $55 a month? Seriously, how can you not afford that? Are you homeless? I know you spend more than that on coffee and on your apps on your phone and your internet and your gas and I know you spend more money on other stuff, going out and partying, once every couple of weeks. I know that you spend more money on that than you would on that. So there's no excuse. Sorry. There's just no excuse not to subscribe. But go there and you scroll down to the Warrior 90-Day Lightning Qigong level 1, and you just press play and you simply follow through. I tell you exactly what to do. I narrate the exercises for you. You just do that. And then you do that for 90 days. Then you go to the next one and you do that one for 90 days, and you go on and on and on. And if you don't like it, unsubscribe. But if you really want to get what this channel is about, that's where it is. You want to find everything else that I do, you can go to courses.thunderwizard.com and see all my books, all the other services that I offer. If you want to learn the elite spirit fighting path that will give you the most condensed power I've ever experienced in all of my years of practice, you can go to maoshan.thunderwizard.com. I'm about to upload the water element soon, so that'll be 4 out of the 5 elements. Once I have all 5 elements, I'm going to raise the price. So time to do it is now, because time's running out. You'll still be able to do it. It'll just cost more. You don't want to pay anything? Great. I challenge you to go onto my channel and go into the playlists. Pick one it doesn't matter what, the heaven, earth, qigong, the Hul breath, the immortals. I mean, there's just so many things that you can do. I challenge you to do one of them every day. Do the Hul breath for an hour a day, every day. Do this practice every day, once a day, or one or both of them. All right? And I dare you to do that and see if things don't change. And then when you're ready, come and join the rest of us, because when there's enough of us in the Warrior 90-Day Challenge, I'm going to start doing some live transmissions, and I'm going to start doing some live energy practices where we set our intentions using this power of the lightning power, the power of the realm of great purity, and we'll make some changes on this world, or we'll try anyway. We'll see what happens. But I want to have enough people in there before I do that. So go there now. We just started a new month, so now's a good time to subscribe. All right, that's it. I'll see you guys next time I see you. Take care of yourselves. And yeah, see you next time.